Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the Theme Park Evangelist. Now that I've messaged my brother and I found out from him that he has no idea when he's going to be home, I now have the complete reassurance that for the next hour or so, I have complete control over his room, which is awesome because I already knew in advance that Andrew was going to be upstairs and Zane was going to be at work. And usually, when Jonathan's not home, I have complete access to his room, which of course has a door. I'm doing some laundry, of course, in the room next door to me. So if I do have to pause my video, I'll press the pause button, put my camera down, or the laptop down, I should say, and go take care of my laundry. But in the meantime, I wanted to do a YouTube video for you guys on. Let me adjust this camera really quick. It's a little better. But yeah, I wanted to do a YouTube video for you guys regarding. Hold on one second. Regarding why I moved away from Central Florida to Northern Kentucky. I almost said something completely different, but I was like, never mind. And you know how my whole YouTube channel kind of started, and why I insist upon keeping the YouTuber name the Theme Park Evangelist, despite the fact that I don't really do the whole theme park thing anymore. So I figured I would answer all those questions in tonight's vlog, even if it takes an entire hour. I'm willing to do it. Who cares? Because I'm not really doing anything tonight anyway. So without further ado, here we go. So to kind of go over the very first question, which is why did I move away from Central Florida? Well, the answer is obvious. For those of you who know me, I really wanted to go work for a Christian organization called Answers in Genesis. So up here in Northern Kentucky, Ken Ham has this Christian organization called Answers in Genesis, and his Creation Museum is about 15 minutes away from me in a city called Petersburg, and it's off of a road called Petersburg Road, which is actually not too far from me at all. Excuse me if that says anything. And you basically have to drive about 15 minutes to get over there. And the Creation Museum is the original building that he designed. It originally was designed just based on the seven seas of creation. Of course, every time I go there, there's still a lot of people that wander around just that section alone and want to learn all about the seven seas that start from creation and end with Christ. The last section has changed quite a bit over the years. They did used to have a small theater in the last section, and they have moved it quite a few times over the years, and now it has a small room normally where it is shown whenever they're using the main room, because there's a big room over by Legacy Hall where they normally do show it, but in the event that they're utilizing that room for like a conference or something, then they will move the show called The Last Adam to a smaller room, which is not as nice, but hey, it is what it is. But they still do show that room. And of course, I do think it's funny that the Creation Museum itself is getting small enough, or well not small enough, but so full of stuff to the point where they just built a new exhibit, and of course they had to cram it into the gift shop, and I was like, okay, that's different. So that was just something I noticed. I mean, there's lots of room at the Creation Museum. They could easily expand the museum and make it a little bigger if they really wanted to invest some money, but you know how that is. But yes, that was the whole reason why I moved up here was to go work for them, and they have a Ark encounter, like the life size Ark out in Williamstown, Kentucky, that I would absolutely love to work for. I think that would be so cool to be able to drive all the way out there just to go and work at this life size Ark and be able to see it every single day. And honestly, I think that's like one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing about Answers in Genesis, is the life size Ark and all that fun stuff. So that's pretty much why I moved all the way out here, was just work for Ken Ham and work for that ministry. So hopefully that answers that question. Now, as far as why did I start the theme park evangelist? What inspired me to start it and all that? So this is not something I have overly talked about a lot, but now that I've been doing this for almost 4 years now, 4 years is mid December, and of course I'll brush back up on it, and, again this December, and I'll talk about it again next year. Now that we're coming into my later years, of my YouTube channel, I figured it was time to start talking about it. So back in 2014, around July or something like that, I was just on YouTube, and I was looking up some YouTube videos for the new Diagon Alley section of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I know, kind of normal for somebody that likes Harry Potter, right? And I happened to come upon a YouTube video of someone called the Tim Tracker. So I actually did watch the entire thing, which, makes sense considering he's that good. And we're talking about 6 years ago when I first started watching him. For the time that I started, no, like when I first started my YouTube channel, this was 2 years prior. So I had already known the Tim Tracker 2 years before I became a YouTuber. And I'm like, oh, this guy's, pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And in fact, I liked him so much, I instantly subscribed, and I just started watching his content on a regular basis all the time after that. Well, early 2016 is when I first became a Universal Pass holder. So, funny story about that. My cousin Kristen had just happened to be in town, and I hadn't seen her in a long time. And even though I did something that I shouldn't have done, I decided to buy myself a ticket instead of a pass, which is really stupid on my part. I should have just gone ahead and got a pass. I don't even remember if I did end up getting a pass. Honestly, now that I think about it, I really don't remember anymore. Because that would have been just like a total waste of money. Who knows? I might have gotten a pass right then and there, but then again, I just don't remember anymore. All I know is I had a lot of extra money sitting around back in early 2016 because somehow I was able to afford getting a ticket and then a pass like a month later, which it still blows my mind how I did that. Honestly, we're talking to the guy who used to go to Perkins every single Saturday for breakfast. That's how much extra money I had. Imagine if I was, making the money I am now back then. I would totally be feeling like I was a millionaire, but now all I feel is tired every single day. And I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything because of a dumb bills that keep piling up and piling up and piling up, and I'm just like, oh, I just want to be done. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that. But so yes, as you guys can figure out, I had a lot of extra money about 4 years ago. So I'm thinking to myself, who cares if I wasted my money on a 1 day ticket that I shouldn't have wasted? I should have just gone ahead and bought the pass. But I was naive about 4 years ago. I mean, yeah, I was like 23 years old, but still, I was very immature about 4 years ago. I acted like I was like 18 at the time, which is dumb. And, I bought myself a ticket and I really loved Universal so much that I was thinking to myself, well, if I'm enjoying being here this much right now, why don't I become an annual pass holder? And I think it was my dad who gave me the idea. So I was like, hey, why not? I went on their website and I went and got myself a ticket. Well, a pass, I should say. And I decided I was going to go pick it up and everything. And, it just started becoming a thing. I started going out there all the time. And the other funny thing is, TJ didn't, know me that well back then. So when I did first start going, I was going a lot by myself. And I can tell you guys right now, it was very boring going out there by myself all the time and lonely. But I still enjoyed it. It was just something I enjoyed doing. And I never really stopped and thought about the whole theme park evangelist thing. And then TJ decided way later in the year he wanted to start going with me too. Because he met me in late 2015. So I guess he saw that I was having so much fun going all those months by myself that he wanted to become a pass holder too. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? And I helped him get his pass. And I know we had gone at least a few times together. And then there was this one particular day that we were going in mid December. And we were going for one of the Christmas things. And all of a sudden, I got this inspiration. I wanted to YouTube it. I wanted to show everybody my perspective. Like, what if I became a YouTuber? And it just kind of stuck with me ever since then. I started bringing my phone along all the time and started YouTubing. And honestly, my first video was absolutely horrible. It was a piece of garbage. It was that bad. But what's funny? Just it was because of that video that it started at all. And it was the reason why I kept just going on and going on and going on. And honestly, even back like 4 years ago when I first started, I had a hard time thinking of what to say. I had no confidence talking to the camera. Like, I was definitely like tied between should I keep doing this or should I just go back to just enjoying the park so I could guest. If my brother had came along and tried to convince me to do it, he could have easily won. And it's funny, he would have completely changed the future if I had talked to my brother about it and just it would have completely changed my future altogether. It's crazy how naive I was back then and how indecisive is really the word I'm looking for back then. I'm really thankful for this pause button that I now have, I should say, on my Chromebook because I honestly don't remember it ever being there before. So as far as like how did I choose my YouTuber name? So this is kind of funny. I wanted my YouTube channel to be very similar to the Tim Tracker because he inspired me to become a YouTuber. So I deliberately chose the part because the Tim Tracker, so the. But I was trying to think of names like, well, the David Dunbar doesn't work because that was like one of the first things that came to my mind. I was like, no, 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 no. How about the Dave Dunbar? No. Like the Tim Tracker actually sounds cool because Tim has a really cool name. Well, I kept coming up with different names. I was like, well, I really like theme parks. So I'll do the theme park. I'm like, okay, the theme park what? And I thought to myself, okay, I don't know what to go put it with. And then I was thinking to myself, well, I'm a Christian. I want to keep this YouTube channel Christian based. So I kept just running ideas through my head on what I wanted to call my YouTube channel. Like, okay, the theme park missionary, the theme park this, the theme park evangelist. Hey, that's a good name. That actually does sound have a good ring to it. That sounds really good. I think I'll go with it. So the name kind of stuck, and yeah, even though I don't really go to the theme parks anymore, I thought to myself, well, why would I change my name? I still go to the theme parks. I just don't go as often anymore. I mean, look at Justin Scard. He doesn't always go to Disneyland or anything or Disney World, but yet he still comes himself Disney or Justin Scard. And I don't even know what his name means, as funny as that is, or Adam the Woo. I know his name is Adam. I don't know why he calls himself Adam the Woo, but excuse me. I know that Adam still enjoys going to the theme parks when he does. I know he's down in Florida right now, and sometimes he's out on road trips. It's like, yeah, most of the time I'm here at the house doing vlogs, but that doesn't mean I'm not going back to Florida. I mean, you guys know next February is coming around, and I'm going back to the theme parks then. You know, of course, I will be doing vlogs then again, like I normally do whenever I go down to Florida. So, it's not like I'm never going to go back. It's not like, oh, I moved away from Florida, the end, no more theme park evangelist, no more theme park vlogs. No, it just means that it just will happen a lot less often. Like, TJ is moving up here next summer, which is a really big deal, and he'll be coming up to see me in February. Then I'll be moving up here between July and August. But that doesn't mean that it's the end for him to come or to go do that kind of stuff. Sure, it might be a little hard for him to be able to come up with that kind of money to go back down to Florida, but that doesn't mean I can't come to the rescue. I'm not the one that's moving. He will be. So I'll have the money to be able to pay for us to go back down to Florida to go on a vacation, then come right back up here. But at least at that point, I will at least have TJ driving me back up here, and then it won't be saying bye until I see you again next year. At least I'll finally have a friend from Florida that I will be able to spend time with, maybe even live with, which it looks like we're going to be living together as roommates until, I can get married and go off on my own and he can go off on his own, and that would be nice. I know it's been tough on both of us to be away from each other, and there's some good reasons for that, but that's another story for another time. So that pretty much explains, why I became the theme park evangelist. Moving away from Florida did definitely change my YouTube channel, and I expected it. And I knew my YouTube channel was never going to be the same again because of that. But I also know that with me living up here and now announcing, we're going to Florida, this will make going to Walt Disney World much more exciting because, living in Florida, it's like going the Tim Tracker. Guess what? We're going to Florida. Or sorry, we're going to Walt Disney World, and you just take a car trip over there, and you're there within an hour. And then you go with me. Well, guess what? We're either going to go to the airport and fly on down. You're going to have that anticipation building up as we get closer and closer to Florida, and then we're going to have that excitement. We're back. We're here. We're in Florida. We're in Orlando. And then next year, you'll have the anticipation twice. So you'll have the road trip down with TJ and I, and then you'll have another road trip down there later on in the year with me and TJ and a coworker of mine from Meyer. Not saying that I will be a coworker of his much longer after, this year. I mean, who knows what could happen? But a promise is a promise, no matter what happens. Whether I'm working for Instars and Genesis by that point or not, I made a promise to him, and I intend to keep it. And I'm going to invite him, or I already invited him, and I'm going to take him with me to Walt Disney World next October for the 50th of Magic Kingdom, and that's what I want to do. So that'd be really exciting. So one thing I would like to spend a little more time talking about is, like, more so than anything else I've really talked about, I would like to talk about how leaving Florida has impacted me now that it's been, over a year since I've moved to Northern Kentucky, and now that I've, now that I'm trying to get back into college, now that I've worked at least three jobs since I've lived here, one in Ohio and two here in Kentucky, and one of them I've had for over a year. And just talk to you guys about the journey I've had since I moved here. So, when I first moved here back in June of 2019, you could say that it was a bit of a scary time. Glad that the coronavirus wasn't happening at the time, because I don't know if I could have handled it. I would have thought, like, whoa, is this what it's like to move to Kentucky? There's this pandemic going on, but glad that it's a worldwide thing, not a statewide thing. Because I don't think I could have handled the pressure of it, like, take me home. But no, it's not like that. But yes, when I first moved to Ellesmere, it was just one of those really interesting places, like driving around the area. My eyes are open so wide. I was like, wow, I've never been here before. I've never seen this area. My parents are making jokes about the signs. Oh, we put up these watch out for autistic children because of you. So, or, we're trying to get people to watch out for you and all that. And I know they're just joking around. I was like, really? Everything was like a eye opener to me at the time. And I remember just like driving around, trying to find my way around when I actually had a working GPS, and, excuse me, trying to find where everything was. Excuse me, when you move to a new place, excuse me, your observation level is like that much higher, because you're trying to see, how everything is and where everything is. I gotta get up again in a few minutes to take care of my laundry, but no hurry, because the washing machine is, well, not 100% done yet, but it is almost done. And I just, found it really interesting. Like, I remember the first time I tried to find a Chick-fil-A, I was like, where's the Chick-fil-A around here? And I remember the very first time I walked in there, I remember it was extremely busy Chick-fil-A. That was like the very first thing I noticed about it. And I remember eating in there. I was like, this is a nice Chick-fil-A. This is pretty nice. And of course, I never stopped and thought about the fact that I would work in the store in front of it. And the funny thing is, I had seen that Meijer that I work at, which is ironic because I happen to work at a Meijer right in front of the Chick-fil-A that I stopped at. I'm not saying, of course, which Meijer I work at, but, I'm just driving around trying to get to know the area, and there's a Chick-fil-A, and then there's a Meijer right in front of it, and I didn't really acknowledge the fact that there was a Meijer there. Like, I saw the sign, but I don't know. At the time, I was not thinking about it. It really wasn't, and it wasn't until there was one day I was needing groceries for the house, I don't remember where my parents were, to be honest, that day. Oh, yeah, that's right. So my parents had gone off to British Columbia to go on a vacation. So my brother and I were the only ones out. Well, as you can guess, I was still trying to familiarize myself with the area. So I was like, okay, so I applied for this Aldi's, right? And I don't know where the Aldi's is. So, of course, I had to use my dumb GPS to go help me find it. Now, keep in mind, I didn't even know where the Walmart was, if I remember correctly, at the time. Because, I started driving around, and if I'm not mistaken, I started acting like I was going to go home. But I thought to myself, well, I might as well go grocery shopping. And the ironic part is, I was heading back home, and I finally saw the sign for the Meyer. Now, obviously, I had already seen it, considering I stopped at that same Chick-fil-A in front of it not too long ago and had my lunch there. But for whatever reason, my brain just now processes there's a grocery store there. I was like, oh yeah, there's a Meyer here. So also keep in mind when I first went over there, and maybe this might help um, with how I process things. When I first got there, at the time that I was exploring the area, I didn't know what a mire was. I just kind of saw the sign. I was like, okay, cool. But the reason why my brain didn't notice it until later on, is because, ironically, my interview at Aldi's happened after I went out to see my best friend out in the Centerville, Ohio area. So he had invited me to spend the night after he found out that I moved out here. And he was like, oh, cool, I got to invite David to come and spend the night with me. And he took me to Meyer that night, my very first Meyer. And of course, I remember the night he said, so I'm going to take you to Meyer. And I'm like, what's that? And, he told me about it. And he took me inside and he showed me around the store. Like, oh, wow, this is a really nice store. I really like it. And he said it's a lot like Walmart. And I could kind of see that. And I remember we went up around 11 o'clock at night because there was no utility workers. And he was telling me how they have guys that come and collect the carts, and they usually are gone by 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, yeah, I don't see any of those guys out. But I was pretty much impressed by the store's layout. So I guess after I got back from his place, then I knew what a Meijer was, and I thought to myself, I wonder if I do live near one of those places, and that's when I finally noticed it. So that's what compelled me to go shop there. Now, I didn't actually know what this particular Meijer was like when I first moved here. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know whether it was nice. I didn't know whether it was bad. I didn't know whether it was just okay. Just keep that in mind. And I'm not saying anything good or bad or even neutral about the store. I'm just saying I didn't know anything about that. So I walked inside and I did my shopping. I was very impressed by the sale prices. I definitely noticed the sweets right off the bat. I was like, oh wow, they got a lot of sweets here, and I definitely did have to admit the store was very clean. And I remember going through a register, and I remember it being very busy when I walked in there. And I think it was a Wednesday morning between 7 and 8 in the morning, which is weird. And they were busy. And I don't even remember the sale that was going on that particular day. And we're talking over a year ago. And the best part is nobody was wearing face masks at the time. So, you know how that is. But yes, I remember spending about $30 and I got a bunch of juice and I came home and I was like, Joven, you won't believe how much groceries I got at this place called Meyer, and I was all excited. I was actually very impressed. I did as well as I did, and I didn't know about really any of the other grocery stores. I didn't even really think about Kroger or anything, nor did I have a Kroger card at the time. Keep that in mind. I didn't even have M Perks when I first shopped at Meyer, and I don't remember them asking me if I had M Perks when I first started. I very sure I remember seeing it, and for whatever reason, it didn't cross my brain at the time to ask what M Perks was. And it's okay. It's not like I haven't saved almost $700 just this year alone. So I've done pretty well with M Perks already. But yeah, that was pretty much my first trip, and I thought to myself, well, I'll shop there a few more times and see if I really like shopping there or not. And I shopped there a few more times, and I finally decided, well, I'm gonna go ahead and apply there. Now, keep in mind that I was working at Kings Island at the time. So the story behind Kings Island is I had already applied there while I was living in Central Florida, and they hired me despite the fact that I was living in a different state. And I set up my, or I just set up my job interview and all that as close to moving up here as I possibly could. And I tried to get into the company as quickly as I could. I mean, granted that I started officially working there by Friday, July 2nd or something like that. I don't remember exactly what day it was anymore, to be honest, because this we're talking over a year ago. I thought I did pretty good, and I was able to work for the remainder of the year. But it was nice to be able to have a job, and that was around the same time that I started investigating into Meyer. And in some ways, yes, I kind of wish I had held on. Like, yes, I have liked Meyer better than Kings Island. I have liked working at my church better than Meyer. It's like you're always gonna like a job better than something else. Like there's some aspects about Meyer I've liked better than Publix. In some ways, I liked working at Publix better. In some aspects, I liked working at Walt Disney World better than both Publix and Meyer. I mean, it depends. In some aspects, I like working at Meyer better than Walt Disney World. I mean, there's always going to be a job you're going to like better than another one. It doesn't matter. It's just one of those things. You're always going to favor something about a job or favor a job over another job. We're all going to find different jobs over the years, and I've worked a lot of different jobs, and I've at least worked many jobs at least for half a year or more. And the longest I've held a job is 6.5 years, but the average amount of time I've held a job is a year. So that's at least a good thing, except for Kings Island, of course, because Kings Island doesn't usually keep you on for very long. The longest you can work there is one season, in a year, that is. But the longest you can work there is as long as you want. But I decided after one season I was done. I wasn't going to come back unless I was a guest. And I'm kind of glad about that, too, to be honest. But I did enjoy that one season there. It was kind of nice, it was nice switching between Kings Island and Meyer. It kind of kept things interesting. I really enjoyed spending a lot of time with my close friend up in the Dayton, Ohio area. I did that quite a bit. And then, of course, my birthday last year was very different. I invited TJ intentionally to come and see me in September of last year because I was getting so lonely and depressed because of the fact that, I had left everybody behind so quickly. And it worked out because I had family that was in town around that time, so I got to see him and them at the same exact time, so that was kind of nice. And, you know, it's just been very interesting just living in a different state. You don't have the same places that you used to go to. You have to learn to make compromises. You know, my church is definitely not Serve Church, but I really like going to Hebron Baptist Church. I'm still in shock about the fact that I've been more useful than I thought I ever would be at a church. Like, I literally became part of the video ministry before I even became a member. I was like, wow, I guess I really am needed here. And then I became a member, and now I work for them. It's like, wow, what else can I do while I'm here? I mean, when I first started, I think our congregation amount was about 150, but unfortunately, the coronavirus has scared off quite a bit of people. I mean, we might have had as many as 200 people, and now we're lucky if we get 150, 160 people on a weekly basis, which is not too bad. I still feel like there was more people back then because of the fact that there's a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time, and a lot of ministries that we had are now gone. A lot of ministries that we used to mention in our new members class no longer exist because of the coronavirus. They've been scared off, and who knows when they'll ever start up again. I haven't seen the organist in months. I remember we used to have an organist, and he hasn't been there in a long time. We used to have a pianist. She's gone. We got a replacement for her. And, I really miss the pianist. My music pastor had been doing the piano for several months before we finally just got a replacement pianist, so that's nice because now he's able to do the guitar again. And there was one point where there was literally just the essential people that needed to do the church stuff, and that was all that the only people that were allowed to be at the church for several months. And now we're meeting every single Sunday in person, whether it's downstairs in the fellowship hall or upstairs in the sanctuary, and then you have online at least as an option too. So it's nice to have for sure. But it's just been interesting. You're never gonna find things the same way ever again. It's never gonna be the same waking up in the morning knowing that Walt Disney World is not no longer an hour away from you. It's not something you can easily get over, and not having Universal close by anymore. It's not easy working all the time, and when you want to have a day off, you can't just go to your local Walt Disney World theme park because you can't really go there that quickly. And what's been really challenging for me is the fact that I just don't have the money to go and do stuff anymore like I used to. And, part of me really wants to be able to go to Kings Island and just be able to go have some fun, but I just don't have that kind of money for a pass right now. And it's rough because I really want to be able to do that. I mean, I would love to go get an Answers in Genesis annual pass as well. At least that's an annual pass, not like Kings Island, which is only seasonal. Because Answers in Genesis is open all year long, which is great. At least that would give me something to do, something fun, something to look forward to. It's like, when I worked at Publix, I didn't always work there, so sometimes I would be at college and sometimes I would want to go to Walt Disney World and go just play around or go to Universal and play around. You know how it is. It was what I liked to do back then. But anyways, guys, like to conclude everything, make a long story short, there's been a lot of changes. I definitely can say another one for sure is I never thought I would see the day when I would see fast food chili restaurants. That was a big one for me. I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. It's like, my parents are saying, oh, we're having chili again, which is normal for them, but up here, that's very common to have. It's Chili is like the standard meal around here. As I said, you've got Skyline chili and you've got Gold Star chili. And that's just a few chili places that you can eat around here, and that's only just two of them. There are so many chili places around here. It's insane. It's crazy. I cannot believe how popular chili is up here. But then again, it seems like every state has their staple food, and Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky is chili, so what else is new? Anyways, guys, that is it for me for tonight. Very long vlog, as I said. I was willing to go up to an hour, but turns out I got everything done in about 40 or so minutes. I did stop for about 5 or so minutes to eat my chips, and I almost sneezed at one point. I considered getting up to take care of my laundry, but I was like, nah, I'll get it later. But I'm just glad you guys didn't have to watch me eat my chips. But I hopefully will see you guys, not if not tomorrow, um, later this week for sure. I'm already getting very tired. Feel like I want to fall asleep while I'm doing my YouTube video. So I will see you guys in the next vlog, and always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.